Welcome to A-Level Biology, and thank you so much for your interest in studying biology at the next level. A-Level Biology is split into 6 modules, which combined with a practical endorsement give you your full A-Level qualification. The first module is actually non-taught module. This is the development of practical skills. This underpins the entire course. So these are all of the practical skills that students develop throughout their A-Level. It's assessed both within exams and also within the practical endorsement, which I'll explain a little bit later. Each module builds on the content from GCSE, so starting with Foundations in Biology, you can see that the topics that students will be studying are things that they have already come across at GCSE. Obviously, we just go into way more detail, really getting into the nitty-gritty and answering all of those questions that students are often asking at GCSE that unfortunately we just don't have time to go into the depth of information that students are sometimes thirsty for. So we're going to be looking at the really cell ultrastructure, looking at biological molecules, so carbohydrates, proteins, etc., looking at things like enzymes, biological membranes, and cell division, so the same topics that they've covered at GCSE, just lots more depth. Module 3 is where we start going into the human biology, so exchange surfaces, transport in plants and transport in animals. So again, topics that students are familiar with, just lots more depth. The final topic in Year 12 is biodiversity, evolution and disease. This is a quite wide-ranging topic. Again, builds on content that they've learned in GCSE, gives them the opportunity to get out and about. We do have a little trip down to St. Wands where students are going to be using their biodiversity sampling techniques to do some original research out on the sand dunes. Year 13 actually starts a little bit backwards. So we start off with Module 6, which is a little bit backwards, but that's mainly because we're going to be looking at ecosystems, populations and sustainability. That ties in really closely with the biodiversity topic from the end of Year 12. So we actually tag this on to the end of Year 12 after their end of year exam. And we do this in the very final half term of the summer term of Year 12. But just this ecosystems, populations and sustainability section. We then move back on to Module 5. That is going to be all of the biochemistry, so respiration, photosynthesis. We're going to be looking at communication, so the hormones and nerves in animals, mainly focusing on humans. Plant and animal responses, so again, topics students have come across at GCSE, but lots more depth. So we'll be looking at the brain, we'll be looking at reflexes, we'll be looking at muscles and contraction of muscles. And we'll be looking at excretion, and GCSE students have touched on the kidney a little bit. At A-Level, we look at that in lots more depth, and then we also look at the liver as the super organ, which does so many different jobs. So looking at everything from detox right the way through to its role in blood glucose regulation. The rest of Module 6 is covered mainly around the January onwards sort of time. This is generally one of the students' most popular and really enjoyable topics because this is the real nitty-gritty of genetics. So students do touch on genetics at GCSE, but it is quite a superficial experience of inheritance and gene technology. At A-Level, we spend a lot of time going into lots more depth on different patterns of inheritance, different genetic techniques, so things like PCR and genetic engineering. The practical endorsement is completely separate. So this is the practical assessment. It's not given grades. Students either pass or fail. Thankfully, we've never had anyone fail here at JCG. So we have a record we aim to continue. This is something that's continually assessed throughout Year 12 and Year 13 by the teachers. The students build up a portfolio of evidence, which they keep in a nice little folder, where they're keeping their records of their practical skills. And the idea is that the universities have set a set of skills that they want their students to be entering as undergraduates, having already developed these skills. And these practicals are built into the course to make sure that students have the opportunity to develop those skills and meet a really good standard of competency, which is assessed against common assessment criteria. Practicals relate to various different areas of biology. So starting off at core techniques down at the bottom there, so microscopy, dissection, etc. So the really key techniques that any good biologist needs. Specific techniques, so qualitative testing is testing for biological molecules. Chromatography, electrophoresis are separation techniques, so DNA fingerprinting, for example. Microbiology, so growing actual bacteria and looking at the effects of various different antibiotics on the growth of those cultures. And then we get into more in-depth investigative skills. So this is looking at computer modelling of DNA, investigating animal responses. Students quite enjoy using themselves as a subject for that and looking at the effect of exercise on their own heart rates. And then we get the opportunity to do a research project. That practical 12 at the top there is basically a mini dissertation. Students will be researching a question. In the past, students have done some genetics ones. We tend to do a respiration investigation recently, which has worked really, really well. They research the information, they plan an investigative project, they carry out their investigation, collect their data, analyse and evaluate it. So it's a really good opportunity to really see through a research project from start to finish, a skill that any good scientist needs. Assessment at the end of year 12, students will sit 2 exam papers. One is breadth and the second is depth in biology. These are the same as the AS exams and they're actually using secure OCR exam papers. So these aren't ones students can access online, but they are following exactly the same pattern as the ones that they can access. So there's lots and lots of opportunity for preparation. But it does give us a really good indication of how students have understood and progressed throughout year 12 and gives us a good indication of how they're going to progress and what sort of exam result we can expect for them next year. And this is the real deal. So the end of year 13, their big assessment, their external A-level assessments. 3 exam papers, biological processes and biological diversity, each assess different topics. Unified biology looks at the whole A-level altogether, as the name suggests. And there's slightly different weighting, but together the 3 papers will comprise their entire A-level qualification. The non-exam assessment is that practical endorsement for biology, which is not part of the A-level grade, but is reported separately. So why choose A-level biology? Well, obviously, if you've chosen to attend this talk, hopefully you have a really good interest in the subject, something you enjoy, and your A-level choices should always be things that you enjoy. You spend a lot of time studying each particular subject, both in and outside of lessons, so you need to be interested, you need to enjoy it. It's also a good and often essential choice for various different careers. If you're wanting to go off to do medicine or vet med or anything like that, having not chosen A-level biology will be a massive hindrance, and in some universities, a complete shutdown. You will not be able to get onto that course without it. But other degree subjects and other careers, it's just really, really beneficial and will give you that insight into the content that something like paramedic science or physiotherapy or healthcare research or anything like that. Biology is going to give you a really good foundation for that. Obviously complements other subjects. There are crossovers with a range of other subjects and they work really, really well together as complementary subjects. You don't have to have done A-level biology to do well in your other subjects, but there are links. In terms of our exam results, we are incredibly proud at how well our students do. As you can see from the results on the screen, these are the average over a 5-year period. Our students do outstandingly well, and we are incredibly proud. They seem to do better and better every year. Now, even if you don't want to go into a science or biology subject or medicine following your A-levels, A-level sciences are really highly regarded by university admissions tutors and by employers. Having done A-level biology as a standalone science, amongst other types of subjects like humanities, will give you the skills and knowledge and understanding that other subjects might not be able to do. So having a biology A-level alongside, say, essay subjects like humanities will allow you the opportunity to develop a different set of skills. We do fantastic field work, various different on-island field work, such as the sand dune succession practical that we do at the end of year 12 and our global expedition. We also have the opportunity to attend talks from visiting scientists. We have a neuroscientist who comes every January, Dr. Sutton, who does brain dissections and works with students in workshops, interactive workshops about genes, health and disease. Really, really fascinating stuff that students get inspired by every year. It is an exciting, relevant, and ever-changing subject. Nothing is ever the same one year on the next. Biology is dynamic, it is fast-moving. It's always in the news, there are always new things to read about, and that's what makes it so exciting. Now, when we have these visiting scientists, quite often the research that they're talking about is things that have just been released the previous week, often even just a few days before their visit. So we do encourage our students to read and to be aware of the changes that are happening in the world. It's not easy, but that's what makes it exciting. Biology is a challenging subject, like all A levels, but it is something that the challenge will reap massive rewards. It's an exciting subject and it's very rewarding to study. Our entry requirements, grade 6 in all of those different subjects. Maths does comprise a part of A-level biology. There are mathematical components to it, so you do need a competency in maths. The most important thing is that you're interested, you're keen, and you're keen to learn. You do need to put in a significant amount of time of study to any A-level, so you will need good independent learning skills. We do expect students to be learning and reading and researching outside of the lesson, and the students that do that well are the ones that excel in the subject. Biology is a fantastic A-level to take. It's exciting, it's interesting, and it will really give you the foundation to study science and other subjects further down the line. I really hope that you are interested and that you're excited to start your A-level studies. If you have any further questions, please do get in touch, either by email or students who are more than welcome to pop in and see any of your biology teachers and fire your questions at us. Thank you very much for listening.